Amansa! 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 Amansa!
It's the motivator here, and this is where we translate our words into action. And where success, and I'm going to say it again, where success, yes, success is ours for the taking. How you feeling, people? How you feeling? When I'm feeling fantastic, I'm high on life. It's been a fantastic few days since our last content upload. And I know you all appreciated meeting the leader here in Britain of the High Council of the Burkinabes here in Britain, or people of Burkina Faso. Wasn't he fantastic? A truly inspired young man, just like his inspired presidents, President Ibrahim Traore. Yeah. We need to go visit Burkina Faso. Yeah. We need to see for ourselves what is this magical place? Why is it so magnificent? Why is it captured imagination of Africans across the continent and across the world? We need to see for ourselves the truth about Burkina Faso. Come join us. An official visit. When we say official, it means it's been backed by the people of Burkina Faso, by the High Council of the people of Burkina Faso here in Britain. Let's go visit Burkina Faso together with the Demotivatorshow, because this is where we translate our words into action. Yeah. And with success, again, success is ours for the taking. We translate words into action. This is not simply an armchair warrior activity. Oh yes, there's lots of cerebral intellectual activity going on. This is true. But the whole purpose of these channels is to provide good information that inspires you to take action for yourself, for your family, for your network, your friends' networks, and indeed the wider communities. And together, cumulatively, we transform our world. That's the purpose. Standing still is not an option because it is a myth. Standing still means falling behind. I say again, standing still means falling behind because the rest of the world is moving forward. Yep, the rest of the world is moving forward. Yep. Therefore, it's incumbent upon us, if in doubt, ask questions. It is incumbent upon us to find the basis upon which forward progress is possible. Understand? That's why I quote Mandela. When he was released from prison, mhm, the first words that we, the public, heard from him was very clear. Amandla. Yes. And that means power. Mhm. It means raised consciousness. It means taking control. It means asserting our collective wills. Mhm. That's what it meant. What it means, get that right. That's what it means. I know for many that's unnerving, particularly if you've been mentally caged or physically caged for most of our lives. I join with you. But actually, the future is what we make of it. I say again, the future is what we make of it, what we give in and allow to happen. Mhm. Does that make sense to you? Oh, yeah, I hear you. Don't worry, I hear you. I know you feel it. I'm going to play him again. I want you to hear and feel the power of the words and why it resonated with Africans across the continent and across the diaspora. Yeah, feel it, feel it, feel it, and shout it yourself. Feel it, feel it, feel it, and shout it yourself. Yeah.
Amandla! 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 Amandla!
Say it loud. Say it loud.
Amandla! 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 Amandla!
You heard, you can feel it, huh? You can feel it. I know you can feel it. You can feel it. Yes, that's it. That's the feeling. That is truly the feeling. There are many that don't want you to feel that way. There are many that don't want you to feel that way. Hmm. Yeah. I see in the chat someone says that's Pan-Africanism. Yes, African unity. I think it's a better, I want to modify that slightly, if I may. It's African respecting other Africans. And through that respect, we build that kinship. And through kinship, we work together. And it's that togetherness, that is that unity that multiplies our individual potential. And it becomes a probable outcome for success. Do you understand? Mutual respect. That is Pan-Africanism. That's the essence of Pan-Africanism. And for that reason, we come together in unity because there's mutual respect. I was speaking to my brothers and sisters in South Africa very recently. Yeah. Yeah. A good debate, really good debate. We need to have that debate. Mutual respect. That's what it is. Yeah. And I say to all South Africans, you have a right to decide who's in your country. If they're in your country legally, you have to decide if you allow them to remain in your country. I think it's absolutely right. Mutual respect. I agree. 1,000,000%. Amandla. Oh, should I do it again? Oh, I won't. But this episode of The Motivator Show will be yet another inspirational experience. We will address the issue of Biafra. Mhm. We will have the leader of the indigenous people Biafra here in the studio. Mhm. And his wisdom will be shared with us. Truly a Pan-Africanist wisdom. Mhm. It will be a powerful dialogue, truly powerful. You'll feel it. It will rational. There's a lot of rational thought going on here, not purely emotion. Yeah. Peace and prosperity for all peoples of Africa. And in doing so, we create a foundations for our future generations. That's fundamental to the people of Biafra, to the Igbo people. Yeah. As I investigate and research Igbo people, what I'm always astonished by is that they are natural achievers. Notwithstanding, oh gosh, I get in trouble now. Here we go. Notwithstanding that other Africans are not achievers, I note that wherever I am, whether it be in Britain or the United States, Jamaica, yeah, many Igbo people in Jamaica, yeah, ancestral Igbo people in Jamaica, yeah. I'm finding that Igbo people are always near the top, always near the top. You see them in mass numbers across the world achieving against adversity. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. A fascinating people. And I'm continuing my research. Oh, my gosh. I am truly enjoying it. Truly enjoying it. Of this dialogue in approximately 10 minutes' time, 10 minutes' time, will be powerful. You must stay and watch. And if you've got your pen and paper or your digital device, make notes. But of course, this is a recording, so you're able to replay it again and again and again. There's a great deal to learn from this podcast on this occasion. This is truly an inspirational experience. But between now and then, we've got maybe 9 minutes now. Between now and then, as you know, this is a campaigning channel on those issues that are generally not in the big media, as it were. Yeah, you're not seeing regularly on social media even. But here on the Motivator Show, we are unrelenting. We are unashamedly for those issues that are a profound impact on African peoples worldwide, but are not generally being discussed. Here on the Motivator Show, we absolutely will discuss those issues. Because if in doubt, we ask questions. And those issues which are not being discussed, we will absolutely discuss those issues here. There is an issue that particularly affects women, but it's very much a man issue as well. And that's the issue of FGM. I want to say it again. I know some people are a little queasy on it. I get it. But FGM, which stands for female genital mutilation, more than 250 million women are FGM survivors. It is incumbent upon me as a man, as a father, with daughters, and who have taken on responsibility for many young women who have no fathers, many. I would have to question the rationale of my sanity if I was to condone FGM, which means the removal of a woman's most intimate parts. Yeah. I do not understand it. I've met women, grown women, who are living with the trauma of FGM. And they're not able to speak on this subject either in their families or in their communities because somehow it's taboo. I want to speak to the men. I want to speak to those traditional leaders. That's what I really want to speak to. Have they really spoken to the women and understood the profound physical and psychological impact FGM has on their women? I know a woman who I work with every day who is indeed an FGM survivor. Her name is Naima Ali. And she founded an organization called Unshackled Duma. I want to play a just short excerpt from what she says on this subject. Listen keenly, it's so vitally important. but others will not discuss it here. But here, this is the Motivator Show, because as you know, because this is where we translate our words into action, because success is very much ours for the taking. Naima Ali, FGM Ambassador for Southwark in London, is the founder of Unshackled Duma. Unshackled Duma is a London-based organisation that empowers women and girls, particularly from Black, Asian and world majority community and Muslim communities. The organisation focuses on promoting self-empowerment, autonomy and advocacy, with a strong emphasis on combating female genital mutilation, FGM. It raises awareness about FGM's harmful effects and supports survivors and works towards eradicating the practice. Unshackled Duma can be contacted via this email address: unshackleduma followed by digit2 at gmail.com. I repeat, unshackleduma followed by digit2 at gmail.com. Very important subject, and if it is within your community, okay, I wish to encourage you to have that discussion. Speak to the women. Husbands, speak to the women. Fathers, speak to your daughters. Leaders, speak to the women. Speak to them. And don't speak to them as if you're looking down at them. Speak to them as they're truly human beings with feelings, emotions. Yeah? And hear their account, hear their testimony. Thank you for each one of you who have heard these messages and have responded. I thank those traditional leaders who have reached out to us here at the Motivator Show and have understood why on this particular channel, on this particular podcast, we ensure the message and the issue of FGM is not unsaid. Here we are unafraid, unabashedly, for you women. We are absolutely for you. Thank you, each and every one of you. And thank you for each one of you who've had the courage to change. Courage to change, to show love and empathy for those women. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Praise be, praise be, praise be. We now have 6 minutes before our keynote speaker, and it's coming on. I am showing you the dialogue is powerful. Oh my gosh, it was truly powerful. I say again, if in doubt, ask question. For any community, any civilization, you need a means by which you are able to create wealth that is able to be shared amongst the people. Okay, but not each and every one of us are natural wealth creators. Let's get this right. Okay, but there are few who have the skills, who can create jobs, who can develop skills, who can create wealth, and that wealth indeed enables the entire civilization to benefit. Next month, here in London, the Black Business Entrepreneurs Conference will take place, led by the remarkable Dr. Carlton Brown, a regular visitor here at the Motivator Show. Okay, we wish to encourage you, if you're in London or will be in London in the date specified, okay, to join the Black Business Entrepreneurs Conference here in London. Okay, I'm going to play a short video which gives you, in fact, let me do it this way around this time. I'm going to do it slightly differently this time. I'm going to give, in this video, there would be a rationale as to why you should go along and attend the Black Business Entrepreneurs Conference. Watch this, and see what you think. The logic is profound. The UK Black Business Entrepreneurs Conference of 2026, scheduled Wednesday, July the 8th, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Empower, engage to educate. Why you need to be there. Learn from exceptional speakers and thought leaders in business, innovation, and leadership. Take part in thought-provoking panel discussions tackling challenges and opportunities for Black entrepreneurs in the United Kingdom. Network with like-minded, success-driven people who will energize, support, and inspire your journey. Gain practical tools, advice, and proven strategies to help you grow and scale. Enjoy a full day of learning, collaboration, inspiration, innovation, and connection. And lunch included. Yeah, I laugh at that. I know lunch is included in the price. Oh, yes, lunch is included. You can see the rationale why you should go. Yeah. If you're about to start a business or you're in business, you want to meet major suppliers, you want to have those who are successfully in business share their wisdom with you. This is the place to go. This is the place to go. And if in doubt, I say again, ask questions. Now here's this final video, which really does summarize the details on why you can attend. And of course, if in doubt, I say again, ask questions. The UK Black Business Entrepreneurs Conference of 2026, scheduled Wednesday, July the 8th, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Empower, engage to educate. Why you need to be there. Learn from exceptional speakers and thought leaders in business, innovation, and leadership. Take part in thought-provoking panel discussions tackling challenges and opportunities for Black entrepreneurs in the United Kingdom. Network with like-minded, success-driven people who will energize, support, and inspire your journey. Gain practical tools, advice, and proven strategies to help you grow and scale. Enjoy a full day of learning, collaboration, inspiration, innovation, and connection. And lunch included. To attend the event, go to eventbrite.co.uk and search for the UK Black Business Entrepreneur Conference 2026 and take. That's right. That's what you need to do. And why don't you hear this more polished example of why you should attend this conference? Because I know many of you who will be attending, and I will be there. I should point out, I will be there. Okay, will understand what this says. Watch this.
This is your moment. Don't let it pass. The UK Black Business Entrepreneur Conference 2026. NatWest Conference Centre, Bishopsgate, London, 8th July. Come and hear from world-class speakers and renowned entrepreneurs. If you've been thinking about starting, growing, or taking your business seriously, this is where it happens. Learn how to build and scale globally. Unlock innovation and tech to move faster. Get in the room with people who are actually doing it. No more waiting. No more watching from the sidelines. 70% sold out. The room is filling fast. Secure your seat now. www.thebbec.com. Eventbrite.
We are building a future that is not just sustainable, but truly extraordinary.
Be in the room or hear about it late. This is your moment.
There you are. A community not creating and nurturing its wealth creators is a community that remains poor. Say again. A community not nurturing its wealth creators is a community that remains poor. Yep, you heard it here first, okay? I know some of you, I understand, are got this, you're more preoccupied with the opportunities. So here, I'm going to put the URL on the screen again. There we go. That's the URL. It is www.thebbcc, in other words, Black Entrepreneurs Conference, .com. There you are. You can see it on the screen. Go there, and you can obtain a ticket via that website. It will be a truly inspirational experience. I say again, another one of those inspirational experiences. There you go. My last announcement before I go to the keynote dialogue. Okay. Again, this is one of those subjects which is very close to all of our hearts. Okay. Right. And of course, I know many of you have children. Okay. Some of you will be Africans from the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. And you will identify by what I'm about to say. In the past 2 years, the Caribbean has experienced a series of superstorms. In 2024, it was Hurricane Beryl. In 2025, it was Hurricane Superstorm Melissa. Category 5, winds of up to 185 miles an hour, more than 100 kilometers an hour. Caused significant destruction across the Caribbean, most certainly the island of Jamaica. Okay. You recall more recent episode of the Demotivatorshow, where the Auditor General in Jamaica identified more than 1.4 billion Jamaican dollars been raised. But up until February, less than 2%, I repeat, 2% that actually got to the people in greatest need. So our emergency donations, after 7 months, less than 2% has got to those in greatest need. Those who are living in destitution, whose lives have been totally turned upside down, whole villages removed, homes destroyed, schools, other public buildings severely damaged. Only 7% of that emergency aid has got to them. The Auditor General's report also questioned how the governance of that money is being maintained. This is the official report. I say all that by way of background, okay? Because there's an organisation here in Britain, you may wish to join with them, called P&P UK, who take it upon themselves to raise money, and they guarantee 100% of all resources which are being raised will go to those in greatest needs. So we here at the Motivator Show have been unashamedly supporting such initiatives. Because we'll have P&P represented back here in the studio to account for the resources raised and to account for how it's been spent and show evidence beyond any question. It has been received by those in greatest need. In this case, the babies, the little children. They're supporting the reconstruction and the materials needed for this, what we call in here in Britain, infant school. This is just for babies 3 or 4 years old, for babies. So they can continue to enjoy the teaching and learning experience. I believe that's more than a worthy cause to allow time for the Motivator Show to spend. Just that small amount of time. Okay? If in doubt, ask question. I'm going to play a very short video, which is an appeal for the head teacher, the school principal of a small school, an infant school, one for 3 or 4-year-olds in Nain in Jamaica. I want you to hear this, and I know your heart, like our hearts, have been moved by this appeal. And well done, P&P UK.
Everyone, I am Lexi Lewis Hines, principal of the New Building Early Childhood Institution in New Building, Nain, St. Elizabeth. We were adversely affected by the passing of Hurricane Melissa on October 28, 2025. And as such, we lost our school roof, we have lost furniture, books, and other learning materials for our young ones. I am hereby making a plea asking for any contribution that can be given to assist us in further renovating our school building so that our students can return to some semblance of normalcy. We have already received some donations and we're able to cover half the roof. The other half is patched up with the old zinc that was there from before. And as such, any contribution is an investment in our young ones, the future generation. And so this is my plea, asking for any contribution that can be given in assisting us to be better able to facilitate our young students. Thank you so very much.
New Building, Early Childhood School, New Buildings District, Nain, St. Elizabeth, Jamaica. On behalf of PNP UK, we hope you would agree that this school needs to be rebuilt so that the children can enjoy the teaching and learning experience. Support the Hurricane Melissa Disaster Relief Fund to build back better the school. Send your donation, whatever you can afford, to PNP UK. That's at NatWest Bank, sort code 600802, account number 298612333. And in the bank reference, please quote DRF Melissa. Thank you for considering. Thank you for your donations. Yes, indeed, each and every one of you, those of you who have donated, thank you, thank you, thank you. As I said, here at the Motivator Show, open and transparent, we'll have PNP back here in the studio to account for every penny, every cent, every dollar, every pound, every naira, yes, every shilling, yes, yeah. Every shilling will be accounted for. We could do it ourselves. We don't need the government of Jamaica to do it for us. We can take responsibility to rebuild back better and ensure it is indeed better. Thank you, each and every one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is now time for a keynote dialogue. I return to the country of Nigeria. Africa, arguably most dynamic, most certainly populous country. Nigeria is a constant theme of these podcasts because West Africa has significant strategic importance, not dissimilar, I might add, to Ethiopia and indeed Southern Africa, which include South Africa. Okay. But Nigeria is a particular issue. Okay. For Nigeria to grow, there are obviously some changes that need to be made to that country. And I'm going to do a special monologue on Nigeria in a future episode. I really do need to put some issues straight. I need to get some issues discussed, okay? I really want to discuss them. But this dialogue, I know you would agree, is truly inspirational. You will hear from the leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra organization, okay? The largest representative body of Igbo people in the world. Okay? He provides a powerful testimony of what is actually happening on the ground in Nigeria. The leader, indeed, who was illegally captured, just like that chappie in Washington did in Venezuela, which had been found to be illegal even under American law, most certainly under Nigerian law. The capture of Mansi Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya was found to be illegal, but he's still incarcerated, still in prison. Oh my gosh. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And I'm well aware that amongst the Nigerian populace, many ethnic groups there, okay, maybe Igbo or Yoruba, Hausa or Fulani, Adua and others, okay. The level of high intelligence is remarkably high as proportion per 100,000. There's far more there in most places in the world. Yeah. But it doesn't make any sense why the path the federal government has chosen will benefit Nigeria in the medium or long term. It makes no sense. Britain understood this. The British government understood this when they were being bombed by those regional ethnic groups, in this case, Northern Ireland, the Irish people, yeah? Or when the Scottish sought independence, or indeed the Welsh, all part of United Kingdom. The central government here in Britain did not, I repeat, did not resort to violence to counter the violence that they were experiencing. They took up defensive positions, absolutely, but didn't commit violence. Why? Because the social and economic interest of Britain was the highest price they sought to achieve. Through peace, real prosperity is possible. They understood that as a fundamental rule. So it's better to seek peace so prosperity can reign. The federal government of Nigeria is seeking the opposite, apparently. I need you to stay with us and watch this remarkable dialogue. It is truly remarkable. And as you watch and observe, okay, just think about the pressures, emotional pressures this man is under, his family is under, the Igbo people across the world are under. Just think about the emotional pressure. People with such talent, but are being suppressed in the country where they are primarily found. And these are artificial borders, mind you. Remember, these are artificial borders, not created with our interest at heart. Oh, Mr. Lugard, yes, Mr. Lugard, representing the Crown of Britain, was operating in the interest of Britain, not for the interest of Igbo people, Yoruba people, Hausa people, Fulani people, Adoa, and others. Was not interested, no. But they hope, beyond hope, that the peoples for whom there was not a natural allegiance, a connection, would fight amongst themselves and hinder their social and economic growth. Exactly what's happening today. Exactly what's happening today. So I lament that leadership, the current leadership. But I'm confident, though. I'm extremely confident that the people there in West Africa, and is being demonstrated by His Excellency, President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso, representing the Sahel states, of Niger and Mali, who are coming together in common aim and common purpose, are setting the blueprint for the rest of West Africa. It is possible, but it requires visionary leadership. It is possible. It requires visionary leadership. Self-belief. That's why this channel exists. Because this is where we translate our words into action. And where success is ours for the taking. I hope you understand these words. These words are not hollow words. They're intended to stimulate a part of your brain that says, we are the change makers. King Kabbalah of the African Continental Unity Party would say, we are the change makers. Not someone else doing it for us. No, no, no. You, husband and wife, men and women, girls and boys, you are the change makers. Praise Jah, Rastafari. Affirmation is confirmed. Okay. So, watch this keenly. There's a lot of information here, please get your pens and paper, get your quilts out, yeah, get your digital device out, take notes, yeah, make references, recording, play it again and again. There's a great deal to learn. And together we will transform the world. The children of Biafra dream not of conflict, but of peace. They dream of a future where they can grow up in safety, receive a quality education, build thriving businesses, and contribute their talent to Africa and the world. They are heirs to the pride legacy of the Igbo people, a people renowned for resilience, innovation, entrepreneurship, and scholarship. Across the generations, the Igbo have transformed adversity into achievement and turned obstacles into opportunities. Their culture teaches hard work, self-reliance, respect for community, and an unshakable belief that tomorrow can be better than today. The Biafran vision, as understood, is rooted in dignity, self-determination, and a desire for a society where every child can fulfill their potential. It is inspired by the sacrifices of countless men and women who endured hardship while holding firmly to their hope for justice and a brighter future. Many draw their inspiration from Manzi Nnamdi Kanu, whose supporters view him as a symbol of perseverance and commitment to a cause larger than himself. His story reminds them that ideas cannot be silenced, that peaceful aspirations endure across the generations. The children of Biafra carry a dream of prosperity, opportunity, cultural pride, and lasting peace. They honor the past, believe in the future, and look forward to tomorrow with hope in their hearts. For every great achievement begins with a dream, and every dream begins with the courage to believe. It's the motivator here, and this is where we translate our words into action. And with success, I say again, where success is ours for the taking. I've got another inspirational podcast ahead of us today. We're returning to that great place, Biafra, and we have a most distinguished gentleman here in the Motivator Virtual Studio. Wow. He's a great man. I'm going to say it again. He's truly a great man. And recently, I had the honor to meet him in person. Let me say before I ask him to introduce himself, I just assumed that the man before us here was at least 6'5", and I would be looking up into his eyes, but only to discover there's a man of, very distinguished stature. But I was taller than him. I could not believe it, people. I could not believe it. But his stature, his aura, is a man many times his size. Could I ask you, please, sir, and I bow my head in honor of you, please introduce yourself and just tell the people who you are, this great man of Biafra, please.
Thank you very much, the great Demotivator.
I am not great. You're the great man.
my name's I'm humbled, and thank you for all the showers of accolades, which I rarely deserve, in my view. But I'm really grateful, and I'm also highly humbled. I am Chief Ikechukwu Nice Nwokoro. I serve my beloved people of Biafra as the United Kingdom National Coordinator of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. It's
Mhm.
indeed a great honor and privilege to be with you, particularly in person in London on May 30th.
Yes.
On behalf of all Biafrans worldwide, I most sincerely appreciate the great work of solidarity and support you have been giving to our cause. And thank you especially for finding time out of your very busy schedule on a Saturday,
Mhm.
like today you're doing your live on your podcast, to come
Mhm.
out on Saturday, May 30th, 2026, to be with us as we pay lasting tribute in our Requiem service of remembrance of great Biafran heroes and heroines who pay the ultimate price that we may live and continue to fight the good cause of Biafra restoration. Your presence, your speech, your everything contribution on that day is gone down in history. They say many are called, few are chosen. I see you and I mark you as one of the chosen ones for the liberation of not just Biafra or Africa, but indeed the world, particularly the world of Black and ethnic minority nations. Thank you for the great
Mhm.
work you're doing. Much appreciated from the bottom of our
Mhm.
hearts. Thank you.
Mhm. Oh no, I have to say thank you, Chief. That I was honoured to be in your presence. I was honoured to be in the presence of the great people of Biafra. I was truly honoured, and what made the occasion particularly poignant, uh, and is important to me, the numbers of young people that were present, who had those wide eyes, and they were really involved. They understood the importance of that occasion. And when I spoke and listened to some of their dialogue, it was truly inspired. Here at the Motivator Show, we talk about this inspiration, but they were truly inspired by yourself, the leadership of the IPOB. And it was clear to me that this is a spiritual undertaking. This is more than just a political movement. This is a spiritual movement, for freedom and justice. Mhm. This is a movement that has so inspired young people that they absolutely, in their genes, in their very genes, are speaking with a force that, oh my gosh, I admired. I truly admired. I felt the energy there. I was so proud to be amongst you all. And oh my gosh. And I want to say again, my people, my audience, this man here, as I say, I assume was 6'5", or most certainly taller than myself, most certainly more grandeur than me. Oh my gosh, I have to say, it just goes to show it's not the physical appearance of the man, of the person, it's the aura and the strength, the conviction of the person. You look beyond the surface and see the real person. Oh my God, I'm bowing my head in honor of you and your leadership of the people here in Britain. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
very much so. You talked about the youth. We
Mm-hmm.
have a duty of care to ensure that our generation next is handed down the history, the truth history of our heritage.
Yes.
IPOB prides itself in being that vanguard or vehicle for spreading the gospel of truth,
Mm-hmm.
not just history, but
Mm-hmm.
in a world where there's so much disinformation and misinformation,
Mm-hmm.
and how it affects particularly the young people,
Yes.
IPOB has stood in the gap and continues to
Yes.
stand in the gap to preach the gospel of truth. What Mazen Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB did, or still continue to do, using the platform of Radio Biafra today is bearing fruits. The fire lit then is catching almost an inferno that the generations coming are beginning to be very inquisitive and also attracted to that truth.
Yes.
So I'm
Yes.
glad that you noticed it that on May 30th, as part of our evangelism or outreach, we ensure that we bring in the young people so that they can understand why we do
Yeah.
what we do.
Yes.
May 30th, Heroes Day, we call it, Remembrance
Yes.
Day celebration, was started by IPOB about 8 to 9 years ago. There was nothing like that before. The history was buried in the rubbles of our people, that the martyrs who were killed,
Yes.
5.5 million at least of them, including innocent women, children, babies
Yes.
who were killed through the starvation policy, especially,
Yes.
not
Yes.
just the bullets and the bombs. The true history and their memory was buried by Nigeria,
Yes.
ensuring that history was never taught and told to people in the right way. But IPOB has reversed all that, and we continue to do
Yes.
that. And
Yes.
our young people are becoming very inquisitive in this education curriculum, if you like. They are
Yes.
listening, they are learning, they are researching themselves and
Yes.
beginning to, piece together the pieces of the jigsaw and can understand now the truth. Why we do
Right.
this is fundamental, especially in the diaspora, because there is seemingly a disconnect between our generation, my generation, and the younger generation in the diaspora, especially. It's worldwide, but in the diaspora, where our children hardly speak our language or
Yes.
struggling
Yes.
to,
Yes.
hardly understand the
Yes.
culture, then the history will be
Yes.
more difficult to even comprehend. So we
Mm.
are embedding all this, our language, our culture, our heritage, and the history in the message of IPOB Biafra Restoration Mission. Because at the end of the day, when we restore, it's a matter of when, not if, Biafra, it will be for people who are conscious, people who are already enlightened, people who know good from wrong or bad, people who are determined to do things the
Yes.
right way to build a new nation that will not be a replica of the same nation that we've been trapped in for over a century. So
Yes. You're
this is
right.
part of
You're
our
right.
mission. This is part
Yes.
of our the vision behind the mission
Yes.
of what we
Yes.
do. And May 30th is a very good opportunity every year to do that. We do it on daily basis, but that is
I
a
know.
special occasion
Yes.
because of the memory of those whose life we are cut short
Yes.
unjustly
Yes.
during the
Thank you.
genocides
Thank you.
and the pogroms that that have even continued to date. Let me
Yes.
also, before I drop on this, to say that May 30th, yes, we have earmarked it for remembrance, but it's also the Independence Day declaration of Biafra. So Biafra was officially, if you like, declared on May 30th, 1967.
Listen to the Declaration of Biafra, fellow countrymen and women, you, the people of eastern Nigeria, conscious of the supreme authority of Almighty God over all mankind, of your duty to yourselves and posterity, aware that you can no longer be protected in your lives and in your property by any government based outside eastern Nigeria, believing that you are born free and have certain inalienable rights which can best be preserved by yourselves, unwilling to be unfree partners in any association of a political or economical nature, rejecting the authority of any person or persons other than the military government of eastern Nigeria to make any imposition of whatever kind or nature upon you, determined to dissolve all political and other ties between you and the former Federal Republic of Nigeria, prepared to enter into such association, treaty or alliance with any sovereign state within the former Federal Republic of Nigeria and elsewhere on such terms and conditions as best to subserve your common good, affirming your trust and confidence in me, having mandated me to proclaim on your behalf, and in your name, that Eastern Nigeria be a sovereign independent republic. Now, therefore, I, Lieutenant Colonel Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, military governor of Eastern Nigeria, by virtue of the authority, and pursuant to the principles, recited above, do hereby solemnly proclaim that the territory and region known as and called Eastern Nigeria together with her continental shelf and territorial waters shall henceforth be an independent sovereign state of the name and title of the Republic of Biafra. And I do declare that, 1. All political ties between us and the Federal Republic of Nigeria are hereby totally dissolved. 2. All subsisting contractual obligations entered into by the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria or by any person, authority or organization or government acting on its behalf, with any person, authority or organization operating, or relating to any matter or thing, within the Republic of Biafra, shall henceforth be deemed to be entered into with the military governor of the Republic of Biafra for and on behalf of the government and people of the Republic of Biafra, and the covenants thereof shall, subject to this declaration, be performed by the parties according to their tenor. 3. All subsisting international treaties and obligations made on behalf of Eastern Nigeria by the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, shall be honored and respected. 4. Eastern Nigeria's due share of all subsisting international debits and obligations entered into by the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on behalf of the Federation of Nigeria shall be honored and respected. 5. Steps will be taken to open discussions of the question of Eastern Nigeria's due share of the assets of the Federation of Nigeria and personal properties of the citizens of Biafra throughout the Federation of Nigeria. 6. The rights, privileges, pensions, etc. of all personnel of the public services, the armed forces and the police now serving in any capacity within the Republic of Biafra, are hereby guaranteed. 7. We shall keep the door open for association with, and would welcome, any sovereign unit or units in the former Federation of Nigeria or in any other parts of Africa desirous of association with us for the purposes of running a common services organization and for the establishment of economic ties. 8. We shall protect the lives and property of all foreigners residing in Biafra. We shall extend the hand of friendship to those nations who respect our sovereignty, and shall repel any interference in our internal affairs. 9. We shall faithfully adhere to the Charter of the Organization of African Unity and of the United Nations Organization. 10. It is our intention to remain a member of the British Commonwealth of Nations in our right as a sovereign, independent nation. Long live the Republic of Biafra, and may God protect all who live in her.
So we have taken that Independence Day for remembrance, while still working assiduously for the restoration of our sovereignty.
Well said. Well said. Well said. And as you narrated that, I considered the to embed as part of a practice memory both of independence and reminding us all of the, you said, more than 5 million martyrs who both died both in battle but were part of that starvation campaign by the Nigerian federal government. It's important, but it doesn't diminishes one. It empowers one, motivates one to remain resolute in the goal. To remain resolute. And I recall here in this studio, we were honored to have the wife of Nancy Kanu here, Ikechi here, the mother of the IPOB. She is, of course, a mother of 2 children. I want to ask you before I get into my more substantive questions, how is she coping with her husband's continued detention? How is she coping?
Very emotional question, to be honest.
Just
One that even is, I've listened to her recently, and it's difficult for her to put into words
yes,
because often she has, maintained a stoic outward or outlook,
yes.
um, carried the burden and bearing it. But very recently, she and her son went down to Sokoto prison
Okay,
to
right.
see Martin Kano and spend some time
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
with him, I think over three
Okay,
weeks.
okay,
And they returned to the UK just last month.
okay.
So just a few weeks ago, basically. She's narrated in some interviews and chats we've had with her experience in Sokoto
Okay.
prison. The only good side of it is that she has said the health of Mazen Namdekano is slightly better than when he was at the DSS dungeon in Abuja in solitary confinement and high restriction. But in the um, prison, which they call correctional center,
Mm,
he has more access to people, receives visitors on a daily basis. So that would do anybody a word of good or difference.
yes,
But for her, as the wife of Mazen Namdekano and the
yes.
children, it has become more traumatic after the November 20th most unjust,
Mm-hmm,
inhuman judgment that was delivered that sentenced Mazen Namdekano to life imprisonment. She remains very hopeful that that judgment will be overturned as the appeal process has finally kick-started. We'll talk about that in a moment.
mm-hmm.
But then you are not sure of anything when it comes to Nigerian government, particularly this rogue regime. I continue to use
Right.
that phrase
Mm,
of APC, the political party in power that came in 2015.
mm-hmm,
Anybody who is a Nigerian with any iota of truth in them will tell you for free
mm-hmm,
that it's been the worst time in the history of the
mm-hmm,
country. We know it's never
mm.
been very rosy
Yes,
or
yes.
good, particularly for us Biafrans in Nigeria. But
Mm-hmm,
this been the most, most tormenting moment
mm-hmm.
in the history.
Can I just,
So she's
forgive
not
me for
sure of
interrupting.
anything.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to get a sense of her feelings right now because she was almost a magnetic character when she arrived, when she was here. I recall just and it's self-evident in the recording. I was sweating. Don't ask me why. I was sweating. I felt the heat of her personality. I was actually sweating at
Mm.
the time. I couldn't understand it, but I now recall. You know, when you're in the presence of greatness, you kind of the shine was, you naturally responded, and a woman of that caliber, we just want to get a sense how she's feeling. Is she feeling strong? And we want to also communicate through you our best wishes.
Her,
So,
her spirit is very strong, for sure.
mm-hmm,
And like you said,
mm-hmm,
that's why her presence will continue
mm-hmm,
to radiate that warmth
mm-hmm.
and heat
Yes,
you just spoke
yes,
about. Her
yes,
spirit is very strong, but we are all humans.
yes.
Having had a major surgery before going to Nigeria to see Mazin Namdekano in Sokoto, and the
Mm-hmm,
undercurrent of that visitation, that things that
mm-hmm.
are still going on even till now regarding Mazin Namdekano's situation, the Nigerian
Yes, yes.
government position, and stuff like that, will make anybody, no matter how strong you are physically,
Okay.
spiritually, and otherwise, to have those moments of,
Yes,
how do I put it? If you like, relapse or,
I understand.
sapping of your energy, kind of. But then on
Mm.
May 30th, because usually she's with us, in London. You would have met her that day. She was in Italy, in Milan,
Okay.
as part of the global campaign, because we thought, okay, good. And I couldn't believe it myself, because given her health situation, as I said, and also how
Yes.
she felt psychologically after the visit to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. When she told me a few days that, she's going to join the IPOB Italy family
Okay.
for this year's May 30th, which was a great move. But I was feeling for her physically. But she's a very strong woman. We all know that. And it's indeed a great privilege to have her, as you said, to be the mother of IPOB worldwide.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
such a pillar of strength is what the movement needs at this
Yes.
particular moment, given what we've been through in the last 5 years. By the way, it's a week from now. That'll be exactly 5 years when Nnamdi Kanu was criminally kidnapped in Kenya and
Yes.
extraordinary rendition to Nigeria. So it's a
True.
difficult time for her and indeed for all of us.
Can I just thank you? Thank you for that response. Again, just to reiterate, extend our best wishes to her. Extend our best and warmest regards.
Thank
But
you.
I'm conscious as we started our dialogue, as we discuss the presence of young people on the 30th. And I'm conscious that the motivator shows demographics. Whilst the 40 plus are absolutely our backbone, okay, the increasing the most rapidly increasing demographic in our audience are young people between the ages of 16 to 35. Yeah? There's a steady increase in their numbers. Okay. Hopefully, we like to think because it's relevant to them, they understand that continuity that we seek to embed in our transmissions. But I need to ask you this question: for younger Africans in the diaspora who may know little about Biafra's history, why should they study this chapter of Africa's history? And what lesson does it offer for future generations?
Very important to not just study, but follow it studiously,
Yes.
because there's been a lot of disinformation and misinformation, which
That's right.
hasn't been helped by
No.
advancement in technology, which is supposed to be a good thing. But also with every good thing, there is always the bad angle. So what has been going on in social media, a lot of people are retelling, I'll say it, disinformation and misinformation about
Yes.
Nigeria, Biafra, and indeed Africa. And
Indeed.
clearly, the young generation, our youth, have a duty, because that was even when I started too. I was very young when I started following things up, to follow the truth, to do
Yes.
their own research, not to rely on what somebody has put out there in social media or on the internet, because we know that computer is garbage in, garbage
That's
out.
that's
You
right.
have to be conscious and mindful of what you feed your mind and the spirit with, because that's going to be the foundation of your knowledge, education, which will be the driving force for whatever your mission indeed. And a lot of misinformation out there needs to be corrected, countered, which is the job of IPOP and others. I'm not saying we are the only ones who do it. Your humble self, what you do on this show is exactly that. De-brainwashing people,
That's right.
particularly the younger generation. Very,
Yes.
very critical project. Someone has to direct them and redirect them, as it were, to the real fact and allow them to process things, do their own findings, and make up their own mind. And we are confident that if this procedure flourish, if this becomes the mental inclination of people to be presented with facts and figures, truth, and allowed time to process them, do their own research to arrive at a conclusion, that a lot of young people will pick up this baton from us.
Yes.
And if we don't finish it, they will definitely finish it. But if they are not directed, guided wisely and strategically, there will be that disconnect I talked about earlier on. And it means that when we are gone, God forbid, there won't be anybody to hand the baton over to. Though we are very determined to ensure that we restore Biafra, which is our own project, in my own time, we have a philosophy that the generation who has the most onerous task of restoring Biafra are the generation born in the gap of the genocide,
Indeed.
genocidal war.
Yes.
Those born between 1965 and 1985, we know a generation is 20 years.
Mhm.
That does not mean that those born after have no role to play, but we are the drivers. We are the ones who have a duty to ensure that we do not fail in
Mhm.
guiding the generation next right.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's what we are doing. And we also believe that spiritually, it is our duty to ensure Biafra. Why guiding the next generation right so that they can follow through? By the time Biafra comes into place, some of us may not be as strong to continue leading it at that level, but we will be there as advisors, we'll be there as guardians, statesmen, or what stateswomen to make sure that this nation is not just preserved but protected and provided for. So that is exactly why I think is important. And also, I want to make a reference to a statement by former mayor in the United States, Mike Arnold. Maybe you follow him online or see some of his.
Yes.
He's a
Okay.
great advocate, a great supporter of Biafra restoration, having done his own researches and also visited Biafra and Nigeria on many
Mm-hmm.
occasions. So he's one
Mm-hmm.
of the leading voices globally. But he said something only a few days ago on our radio Biafra interview, that even in the US, as it stands today, it's less than 5% of the United States population that know even the average about Nigeria and Biafra.
That is true.
So
Or less
that
than
is a big,
5%. That's true.
yes,
Yes.
yeah, that is a big challenge because we are talking about peaceful restoration of Biafra. IPOB never advocates for war or violence. So if you are going to restore a nation as strategic as Biafra peacefully, you need a movement worldwide. You need an awareness worldwide. You need a consciousness also worldwide that people of the world will raise the question to the United Nations, not even us. So if we have this little percentage of people who know anything at all, let alone knowing the truth, we need our young generation to get on the bandwagon because the young generation, they are more savvy than my generation in technology. They will bring their technological innovations and other ideas, their productivity into the mission of Biafra restoration. So we need a lot of young people to come on board. Biafra restoration is not for those who are in 40s and 50s and 60s. And no, indeed, the shining lights of any renaissance or rebirth of any nation is always the young people. Take
So,
Burkina Faso, for example, Ibrahim
okay.
Traore. If
Yes.
we didn't have him as a young man, it would be difficult. Then look around the horizon of African
Right.
countries, the leadership,
Right.
where you have our octogenarians and those in their 70s and even 90s seeking to continue to perpetuate themselves in power. How much progress are we seeing or making
None. None.
compared to where you have youth? And the right youth, I'm not talking about misguided youth or those who are on drugs and who have been,
Indeed.
with all due respect. It's our duty to guide them, catch them young, show them, like the Holy Book says, the right path, and they will never depart from it. And that is also part of the mission of
I must ask
IPOB.
you, and the other part of my question was from your perspective, what message does this send about the state of democracy and justice in Nigeria if you have this number of young people who are feeling alienated from the Nigerian society because of what they're doing to Nancy Kanu? From, what is talk about the state of democracy and justice in Nigeria, and how does that impact young people?
Well, the message is that their time is up.
Indeed.
The message is that revolution is around the corner. The
Absolutely.
message is that the people have had enough. And
Indeed.
truly, the people have been dealt the wrong end of the stick more often than not in Nigeria. The message is that bad governance is unsustainable. The message is that poverty, unemployment, the lack of youth empowerment is not the way forward. The message is that there will be true change, not their own mantra of change that changes from bad to worse. But there should be true change in not only Nigeria, but all over Africa.
Absolutely.
Even though we advocate the peaceful separation of Biafra from Nigeria, we will still work and pray that even when Biafra is out of Nigeria, Nigeria should be peaceful, should be organized, should be prosperous. Because when your neighbors are doing well and you're doing well, the threat level comes down. But if you're the only one doing well and the rest around you are still in darkness, you face a lot of threats. You face more challenges. The youth have come into the realization of the truth about their nation, about their origin, their history, their heritage. We send a strong message to those in government and other authorities that times have changed. And this is what we've been clamoring, that times have changed. Nigeria of 1945 cannot be Nigeria of 2026.
Can I ask
The
you that, at that
methods
point,
they
if I
used
may,
in
my chief,
1967 cannot be the same today.
my chief, if I may, and you're leading very neatly into my next part of this dialogue, and this is what I've heard from officials in Nigeria, both in Nigeria and here in Britain. The Nigerian government maintains that its actions, okay, are necessary to preserve national security and territorial integrity. Now, why do you believe many people in the southeast, okay, reject that explanation? And what evidence would you present to the wider African diaspora for that rejection?
Because that is a farcical statement.
Indeed.
What action are they talking about? Positive action or negative action? What national security are they talking about in a country that is subsumed now in insecurity?
Indeed.
The country almost totally overrun by terrorists. And the government know these terrorists, they are not even dealing with them. Instead, they are parleying with them. They call it negotiation. The negotiation that only fuels corruption and more insecurity. So I really love to know what action they are talking about. Sometimes Nigeria is famous for, Nigerian government officials are famous for rhetorics, sound bites, and has no meaning practically. So that's what you just read out there, that phrase or clause they quote all the time, has no meaning on the people. It has not, it doesn't affect the price of beans, as they say in the market.
Yes.
It has not solved any real problem of poverty, hunger, insecurity, and all the things we know that have bedeviled that country. And the government is more interested in borrowing monies. The money they borrow, they can account for. They internally generated revenues, it all goes into the pocket of government officials,
That's right.
starting from the president himself to his family, to his ministers and other officials of government.
Yeah.
So what hope have they left the people with? And every 4 years, they find a way or means of renewing such impunity by rigging elections to put themselves in place. The people have no practical say. Elections are coming up soon, and that's the only thing they're talking about now. The government
Mhm.
has no interest in solving problem of insecurity. The government has no interest in all the job it should have done 4 years ago. The only interest they have right now is how to position themselves to rig the election and get the international community to turn the other way and allow them to continue again for another 4 years. So this is what people in not just the Southeast, but all over the country have risen up to say, enough is enough. But what I can tell you right now is, knowing Nigeria and my experience with it, is that how much of this verbal opposition will be put into action
Yes.
to bring about change. That is what
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
not sure about. But if you ask anybody who is honest, anybody who understands what's been going on in Nigeria, do you ascribe to this or subscribe to this government continuing?
Mhm.
The obvious answer, more than 95%, will be no. The only people who will
Yes.
say yes to it, and they are less than even 1% of the population, are those who are benefiting directly from this impunity, this insecurity,
Mhm.
and
Yes.
this bad governance.
Indeed. Indeed. I hear you, and I'm always astonished how they cannot see the dysfunction and the damaging social and economic impact it's having on the nation. It's almost as if they're in a sort of a tower by themselves, and they're clearly just serving themselves. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense, and yet the country uh, has such incredible natural resources, such incredible economic potential, but yet the federal government consistently shows a well. Look, I wish they were here to speak for themselves, but what I'm observing is significant underperformance of that country. Significant underperformance because those who are in power don't know how to wield power for the benefit of all peoples, and it seems plainly obvious that Biafra should be given great autonomy, if not independence from this nation. You maintain good relations with the rest of Nigeria, absolutely. But that autonomy will give you the verb, the ability to magnify, to really amplify the wealth that you have, and to ensure that all people Biafra, and indeed the neighbouring nations, will benefit through your ingenuity. Could I note, if I may, my chief, I note that gosh, I see so many Igbo youth, yeah, across the world excelling, and what I will do, I'll put on the screen shortly a series of people of Biafra, young people of Biafra, excelling both academically, in the scientific field, or in business, and most certainly commanding great wealth, and most certainly people in the spirit in faith communities. These are Biafrans who, if they were in Biafra, oh my gosh, Biafra would be a country on par with Singapore, those Asian tigers. Biafra would be an African lion economy. Yes, it would be an African lion
Absolutely. And
economy. African lion economy. African lion economy.
Irony is, sorry if I may comment, the
Go
irony
ahead,
is
of
that
course. Of course.
Yeah. Why we are selling mostly out of our
Mhm,
shores. If all these great minds and personalities you are referring to,
mhm,
which we
mhm.
still have many more of them, were still
Yes.
stuck in Nigeria,
Mm.
they will not
No,
be anywhere.
there you are.
There's no enabling environment to allow anybody's real potential to come true.
Mm.
And that is the primary assignment of any government as after
Absolutely.
protection of lives and property. The next duty of government is to create an enabling environment for people to prosper,
Absolutely.
which has never
Absolutely.
been in Nigeria. You mentioned about some sort of autonomy. Remember, that was the first thing that Biafra sought.
Yes.
In this month of remembrance, what we do always, first of all, reflect to is the Aburi Accord,
Hmm.
which was on the 5th and 6th of January 1967,
Yes.
before
Yes.
the genocidal war began. That was a great opportunity for Nigeria to sit down and Biafra, and they did actually reach an accord, which was an agreement that stated how we could coexist, work with some level of autonomy for each region, develop at their own pace. There will be peace and prosperity. There was a little bit of experiment of that early 60s as well, and it was the Eastern Nigeria then under the premiership of Dr. Michael Okpara is on record researching, was
Yes.
noted as one of the fastest growing economies worldwide, and that is Sem
Yes.
Biafra.
Okay. That's evidence.
We
Yeah.
went to
That's the
Aburi.
evidence.
Yeah, we went
Yes.
to Aburi, made this
Mhm.
discussion to say, okay, that experiment was truncated through a series of military coup and counter coups. But we went to Aburi to discuss under the supervision of the General Ankara, the then head of state of Ghana, and other African leaders. Both parties were there. For after 2 days, an agreement was reached, signed, sealed, but never delivered.
Yeah.
Nigerian side, headed by Yakubu Gowon, came back. Obviously, we now know, now that we are digging into history, we now know those who may send the telegrams to say, no, 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 you gave out too much.
Hmm.
You shouldn't allow this to happen. And they
Yeah.
reneged on that
That's
agreement.
right.
This is the trigger of the war called
Yeah.
civil, which is only a genocidal war, if you remember.
Yes. Yeah. I
Though
do.
we know that
Yes.
there have been many pogroms and attempts to decimate Biafrans before then, but this was the last straw that brought the camels back. Even at that, the Biafran's leadership was restrained from taking any
That's
military
right.
action until Nigeria brought this genocidal war down
That's
to our
right.
doorsteps. We were
That's
only
right.
in defensive mode and then it escalated. So the
Mm.
point I'm making is that Nigeria had opportunities 60 years,
Yes.
almost a few months from now, 60 years to begin this track of what we are here discussing.
Hmm.
Imagine where we would have been by now if only people were sensible, were
That's
resolute, were
right.
truly
That's right.
patriotic enough to do the
That's
right
right.
thing at the right
That's
time.
right. Yes.
January 1967, there wouldn't have been the genocidal war. I bet you every region, not just Biafra, would have been developing, and Nigeria could have still been
Yes.
that big country, but each region developing, like the Catalonians are doing in Spain.
That's right.
Yes, they still want
That's
their
right.
independence, but they are well advanced, well developed.
Yes.
And anytime
Yes.
that they decide to go out, they're not starting from the scratch. Whereas Biafra is starting from the scratch because whatever we had was destroyed during the genocidal
Yes.
war and had continued to be destroyed through dangerous policies of economic strangulations and emasculation to ensure that
Yes.
that nation, which is called a region, never achieves its full potential. And this is what
That's right.
IPOB has been out to say no, enough is enough. Particularly having recorded, and I keep repeating this on your show, that the agreement that brought Nigeria into existence has elapsed,
The past. It's
meaning
lapsed.
that
Yes.
Nigeria,
Yes.
yes, meaning that Nigeria was no longer alive, if you like. So Nigeria was dead. So why are we flogging a dead horse since 2015? The agreement elapsed. There was no conscious effort to renew it legitimately. We had opportunities down the line in history to do the right thing, to correct the foundation and get the country moving as a true nation. Each time, corruption and individual aspiration frustrate it and make sure it
I
never
agree.
happens. And
Can I?
uh, the same group are still in power till today.
Yes. If I may here, because you're so right, and whilst I agree, there are internal groups who embed a colonial construct. Okay, I'm very conscious of big corporations and other external national actors who are weighing down on Nigeria, um, and uh, and thereby undermining good politics, good governance in the land. And I want to keep on this theme, but I'm conscious that there's significant detail which I will bring out in our as part of the final edited version of this dialogue to enable the audience to completely comprehend the details you've just provided, so that there's a clear understanding. Because we said it earlier on, we are the populace are very forgetful, very forgetful. Unless you repeat it from time to time, remind them of the fact, the details. We can be collectively quite forgetful. The 30th of May is an indication of that, to remind the people of the history, the facts, the details. Okay. But I want to, if I may, just to help our conversation, our dialogue to continue a flow, and looking beyond the courtroom, what impact has Nancy Kanu's detention had on the political, economic, and social development of the Southeast region? And if genuine national reconciliation is the objective, or indeed what practical steps should the federal governments of Nigeria take to rebuild trust with communities that feel marginalized and excluded? What concrete step, could the federal government take, in short?
First, talking about the impact, it continues to have a
Yes,
devastating impact on overall security, stability,
yes,
and growth.
yes.
I mean, marginal growth, I would say, of the
Hmm.
Southeast in particular. And the whole Biafra land, it must be said. Remember, Biafra
Hmm.
is not only Southeast, it also
Yes,
encompasses South,
indeed.
what they call South-South, and some part of the North Central, which is the Middle Belt. So
Hmm.
the whole Southeast, with the continued detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, particularly since last year pronouncement of the unjust life sentencing, is still in turmoil. People are still fearful. Investors are unsure what will happen. The Monday sit at home, even though Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has also openly stated that it should be discontinued, but some people are still observing it voluntarily, and you cannot legislate for them. Some state governments have taken it upon themselves to uh, 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 impose sanctions and also introduce punitive measures as a way to counter the Monday sit at home, which is not working. Instead, there have been clashes between state security agencies and innocent people, and more lives have been lost. So, the continued detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, we obviously continue to put the Southeast in a standstill, if not total peril. And that seems to be the hidden agenda of those behind this whole thing. They think that that will be a way of killing the morale of Biafrans and then
Hmm.
ending the agitation. But little do they know that it will not. It will have a boomeranging effect.
Absolutely.
Early on,
Yes.
it has. Because what they have done is that they've used the incarceration of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to infiltrate our movement even more. If you go on social media, you see a lot of people saying all manner of things. which is again disinformation I talked about. Some of them are government propaganda. Those voices you're listening to have been, one way or the other pushed into it, either by buying them out or completely confusing them, and they begin to go online to say things to discredit the movement, IPOB, its leadership, and even the leader, Mazin Nandekano, who is unjustly in incarceration. That's also delayed the process of his release. Look how long it's taken for the appeal to be filed. And only last Friday, after the legal representative filed the appeal, in which Martin Nandekano will self-defend himself, like he did in the first hearing, the government has decided to file a cross appeal, asking that the sentencing should be upgraded from life imprisonment to death penalty. Does that sound like a government that is seeking reconciliation? The first judgment, everybody knows how flawed it was. We, IPOB, commissioned experts, legal experts, to review it, and there were 118 flaws in that judgment identified. So that all in itself means an appeal. It's just formality. You should just overturn that judgment, and that is the hope or expectation of any sensible person, any truthful person. Like you asked me about Mazen Nandekano's wife, our first lady, Lord J.J. Okukano. We are all banking our hopes that look, Nigeria has no grounds to convict Mazen Nandekano in the first place, that an appeal would definitely quash this. But on the other side, look at what the government is doing. The prosecution is pushing for even worse case scenario. Remember,
Crazy.
that was their submission last November. They wanted a death penalty on Mazen Nandekano put in place. And imagine what that pronouncement will do, to people. It's going to set the region, Southeast at least, and if not the whole country, on fire. And they are still pushing towards that, because those who want to use or capitalize the continued illegal incarceration of Mazen Nandekano for their own political gain, perhaps are not getting enough at the moment. We know too from our intel, you may have seen on social media as well, that the presidency has been making some overtures to Mazen Nandekano for his release. There's this infamous 7-point conditions he was given.
Yes.
I will share it with you at some point. People thought it was just propaganda, but there's huge elements of truth in that. Tinubu and his government want him to sign up to those 7 conditions, which to me summarily is about dropping the Biafra agitation, seizing anything called Biafra, reintegrating into Nigeria forcefully without addressing the issues that brought about Biafra in the first place, which includes marginalization, under economic strangulation, deliberate government policy of frustration of the Southeast so that it never develops. None of those issues were addressed in the so-called 7-point condition given to Mazen Nandekano to sign. Of course, Mazen Nandekano, from what we gathered, all the pieces of paper they presented to him in the prison. So that has infuriated them. Tinubu and APC were hoping to use Mazen Nandekano as a trump card for this election they are hoping to rig anyway.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, it looks on the balance of scale, it looks like they are not getting in their way. And now they are threatening to upgrade his life imprisonment sentence, which is fallacious in the first place, to death penalty. They want to hang him so that they can put the whole nation on fire. So asking me the impact of his incarceration is devastating. And it's being handled in the most insensible manner by the government. Like you said, their approach is not even negotiation, let alone reconciliation. Their approach is their way or the highway. Accept our conditions and terms, or to hell with you, and they damn the consequences. But the consequences will be so dire for the entire contraption called Nigeria.
Very foolish, yes, very, very foolish, if I may. Very, very foolish strategy. And I recall the British government here in the 70s and early 80s. We had a series of attacks on the British state by an organisation called the Irish Republican Army, the IRA. Okay, seeking autonomy, if not independence, for a part of the island of Ayr, which sits the Irish Republic, which is currently controlled by Britain, 10 counties, as it were, which was traditionally dominated by Protestants from primarily Scotland and so on. Okay, and what the IRA sought, and their political arm, which is called Sinn Féin, they sought independence. So they unalived British people. They also unalived members of the British royal family. It was quite shocking. I recall not being no more than a few hundred yards from a bomb that went off in London when I was a young man. It was the most terrifying time. At that time, I can tell you, not dissimilar to the initial actions of the Nigerian federal government, you were not allowed to hear the voices of the Sinn Féin politicians who were elected officials, but their voices were not allowed to be heard either on radio or on TV. Their actual voices. It had to be mined by somebody else. Okay, they were afraid that the people heard the voices of the Sinn Féin elected officials. But we subsequently know now that throughout that horrible, intense, awful time, okay, the British government were always in negotiations with Sinn Féin.
Right.
Yes? They're always in negotiation with them. Very similar to the Scottish National Party here in Britain. Very similar organisation in many ways. Yeah, and they maintain clear lines of communications. And they made it clear, apparently, at the outset that they sought peace, because a nation at war with itself is a nation that will fail. Yeah, you will not want to invest in such a nation. It's not a nation that you want to have your families. It's a nation that is at war with itself. It's an unsafe place, and therefore would undermine Britain's economic prospects. And the royal family.
If I may come, a very good analogy. Yes, very good analogy is the motivator. But let's fast track to the outcome. The outcome is that the Northern Ireland, whereas the British government ceded, to some of the demands of the Northern Ireland, legitimate demands.
Yes.
The semi-autonomy you talked about, they got it.
Yes.
And they are doing well with it, relatively.
They are.
And that also has ensured the relative peace and unity of the United Kingdom. Then move to Scotland. Their demand of referendum was granted. They had a shot at it and lost by only 4%. So juxtapose these two outcomes now to Biafra demand. I keep always saying whenever we come here, so that we de-brainwash people, IPOB never set out to divide Nigeria.
No.
IPOB's mantra from 2012, when IPOB came on board, was exactly what we are discussing now. Return to true federalism or regionalism or confederation, whichever one. We left the options wide open for Nigeria to negotiate. I mentioned Aburi Accord of nearly 60 years. Right all the wrongs and allow Southeast Biafra land to find its feet again and begin to thrive and develop, which we are confident we can do in 5, maximum 10 years' time. 2012. Instead of Nigeria, like you said, having a direct line of communication open to negotiation with IPOB, early doors, they resorted to killing IPOB
Yes.
members, blackmailing them, and all the other things they're doing. And today, it has snowballed into widespread killing, terrorism of unimaginable proportion, Fulani herdsmen who are terrorists, Boko Haram, and ISWAP, Lakarua, every day new mutilations or versions of these terrorist groups of fundamentalist Islamic radicalism continue to spring up in Nigeria. Today, Nigeria is officially, if you don't know, the international headquarters of these terrorist groups,
Oh, wow.
including ISIS. ISIS is only masquerading in Middle East, but their true operational base as headquarters is Nigeria, the Sokoto Caliphate.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
does this in any way, again, it comes back to your last question, indicate a government or a system that is truly open to negotiation, open to reconciliation? Right after, at the end of the genocidal war, the then head of state, Yakubu Gowon, maybe I'll talk a little bit about him before we sign up, announced the 3 hours: reconciliation, reconstruction, rehabilitation. None of them has been implemented since 1970 till date. Successive governments come up with one excuse or another or diversion to shy away from this fundamental, foundational issue that will solve most of these problems. Then allow those who appreciate and understand this foundational problem and perhaps also have a solution to take charge of the hem of affairs and fix things they will never do. One thing I want to say here tonight, because this is where we speak the truth, is that this morning, is that Britain, who knows the right thing and apply the right thing on their own domain in their backyard,
That's right.
are
That's
the
right.
chief sponsors of all the wrong things in Nigeria. So it's a case of different strokes for different folks.
I agree.
What
I agree.
is good for the Northern Irish, what is good for the Scottish, is not good for Biafrans. It's not good for Yoruba people. It's not good for other indigenous nationalities in Nigeria, whom they forcefully marched together, got into an unholy marriage some 100 and something years ago, and still insist they must remain and die in it. This is inhuman. This is unjust. This is unfair. And it's not. We are peaceful. We're not threatened. But if the younger generation of Britain turn a blind eye to this, they will suffer the repercussions of this
Can I just ask a
wickedness
question
of
there?
their
Because
forefathers.
you've now brought us back to Britain, and if I may, just ask this question, because this is really useful part of our dimension to our dialogue. So you see, some critics claim that the diaspora activisms achieve little beyond social media commentary, as it were. You know, that's what they claim. What specific actions can Africans in Britain, Europe, North America, and indeed the Caribbean take to support peaceful advocacy, human rights, and political accountability for Biafra? What can we do here?
Education. And that's part of what IPOB is doing. We're using the platform of not just social media, Radio Biafra, and other conventional media that IPOB created. Cost a lot of money
Yes.
to primarily educate our people, and not just Biafrans, even other ethnic nationalities in Nigeria. Excuse me. We today there are a lot of Hausa people. You know, the true Hausa people. That before you hear Hausa Fulani, as if Hausa Fulani and Fulani are the same ethnic nationality, but they're not. So of late now, Fulani is on their own, Hausa is on their own. IPOB's education through public enlightenment, broadcasting, and other media campaigns have enlightened even the Hausa nationals. And they're beginning to make their legitimate demand. We also carry out campaigns, organize peaceful protests, organize meetings, have structures, even back in Nigeria. And that's what the government is targeting, because they know that if that continues to thrive, definitely they have no hiding place.
Indeed.
So they
Yes.
have targeted our people, the leaders that are in Biafra land. So many have been killed. A lot of my comrades have been killed.
Mm-hmm.
And then they resort to infiltration, bribe a few of us to become saboteurs. They become
Right.
government agents that are
Yes.
helping them to kill, maim, and incarcerate innocent agitators. Those who have bought into the training, education, and other programs of IPOB, and also have been integrated into IPOB, given some assignments as leaders at the grassroots. Government is gradually going down to kill people and instilling fears in those who have not been killed, either to run away or go
Yes.
into hiding. So
We recognize this. Yes.
we're doing a lot, and we continue to do that because we know that what we are fighting for is just and right, and we are going about it the right way as well, which is peacefully. But it's
And
so painful that
forgive
you
me to
continue
interrupt, but
to have
forgive me
losses
for interrupting.
of life.
Forgive me for interrupting. So, but us here in the diaspora, how can we support that? Because the social commentary clearly is right, that we can make
Yeah.
comment and make observations on the performance of the Nigerian government in relation to Biafra, the clearly illegal detention of Nancy Kanu. There's no doubt about that. What more can we do? I suppose is the nub of my question. What more can we do? Peaceful advocacy, human rights, and political accountability. Yeah.
More can be done in terms of using your own means, time, talent, treasure to support. When I talk about these three T's, time, talent, and treasure, I talk about your resources.
Yes.
The movement itself, IPOB, is self-funded. We don't have any funding, received from any international body, country, agency, even non-governmental bodies. We don't. So it is funded by members who make contributions, and in most cases, these are voluntary donations. So we appreciate people who want to support us, because it's expensive. Fighting a government like Nigeria that is rich in financial resources, especially and other natural resources, it's not even going to be easy, because they're spending loads in what they call lobbying, propaganda machinery, and campaigns of calumny against your efforts. So we also need to have some level of resources to be able to counter them and to pass on the right message and to recruit people who will help us spread this message. We also have what we call IPOB volunteers, people who decide to support us, carry our campaign into different quarters, to reach out to their contacts and connect. That is hugely important. I mentioned Mike Arnold, the American former mayor, earlier. What he's doing is fantastic. He's not the only one. And your humble self is another person using your platform all the time to promote and to balance the views, not just to be on Biafran side, but to expose the truth so that people can make up their own mind. So we do appreciate that. We need more and more such genuine people to support us, not necessarily Biafrans alone. At this stage, the leadership of the IPOB, the Directorate of State, who are in charge of the day-to-day administration of the movement, are doing a lot in terms of diplomatic connections and missions. IPOB is establishing liaison offices across the world so that people can physically reach us. The Nigerian government spent billions of dollars trying to portray IPOB as a terrorist organization. But we cannot be a terrorist organization if we are out there in the open, have offices,
Well said.
are registered. in more than 108 countries of the world, including
Well
here in the
said.
United Kingdom, register with the Companies
Yes.
House, are free
Yes.
to go to 10 Downing Street, go to the Parliament Square, go to everywhere in the country
Yes.
to hold our activities. That is not the way terrorist organizations operate. So Nigerian government knows that it has failed woefully in that regard
Yeah.
and continues to fail. That is why we clamor that the misplaced priority of successive administrations in Nigeria has made it invariably impossible
Mhm. Yes.
for
Yes.
true change to occur. And they
Can
have,
I?
whether consciously
Yes.
or otherwise,
Mhm.
led to Nigeria becoming officially a failed state and a
Absolutely.
fantastically corrupt country for that matter.
That's right. Can I ask at this point in that case, and that many African countries indeed struggle to balance national unity with people's right to self-determination. That's clear. What
Mhm.
lessons can Nigeria learn from other African countries who've successfully managed deep political and regional tensions? Are there examples across the continent that you might be able to cite for this dialogue?
Yeah, Nigeria, there are obvious lessons for Nigeria to learn, and Nigeria plays the big brother of Africa. We always
Mhm.
go with that scam
So, what
tag
other
of
countries
giant
can
of
they learn
Africa.
from? What other countries can
Yeah.
Nigeria
So,
learn
but
from? Yes.
the point I'm making is that the lessons are there. Is Nigeria
Mhm.
humble and truthful enough to learn them? There are many instances. Look at Rwanda, for example.
Okay.
They've been through these stretches of, civil war, clashes between the two
Yes.
major, tribal regions, and at the end of the
Yes.
day, they're still one country,
That's
and
right.
is now
Yes.
developing at a very fast pace
Yes.
under a leadership that is credible,
Yes.
acceptable locally and internationally. That is a
Yes.
big lesson. Is Nigeria
Yes.
prepared for that? Look at South Sudan
Yes.
and Sudan. After many years of wars and everything that has, losses on all front, eventually, peacefully, quietly, in quote, there's mutual separation. Each
Yes.
country on its own. Yes, I know somebody can argue that, oh, there are still skirmishes in South Sudan. We know that they are all sponsored. And we
Yes.
anticipate that to happen when Biafra comes. But then that's a big lesson to learn. It didn't need to involve bombs, landmines, airstrikes, blockade, all manner of wickedness in the name of you're fighting your own people, because we are the same people. We are all Africans.
Yes. That's
Biafra,
right.
Nigeria, Arewa, Oduduwa, whatever name you got, we are all Africans. We are the same people.
That's right. Praise
There
Jah,
is no need
Rastafari.
for all that. There
Yes.
is no need for all
Mhm.
that. What we are
Mhm.
talking about here is, you know, downsizing, if you like,
Mhm.
an unmanageable space into
Yes.
bite pit manageable structures,
Yes.
especially where there is a historical national link in the case of Biafra. The problem with Nigeria continues to be that you mix oil and water together.
That's right.
If these countries or nations stayed on their own and have that connection or link, all of us will still be part of ECOWAS, Economic Community of West African States. All of us will
Mhm.
still be part of the African Union. So why can't there be that peaceful separation, especially when it has not worked over a century plus, so that people can live good life in their lifetime for once? That is a big lesson for Nigeria to learn, but they won't, because people are interested in holding on to everything. Somebody in the north who is mining gold and other solid minerals for
Mhm.
centuries now, for decades now, for free, not paying any tax to
Yes.
even the government.
That's right. That's right.
He wants to be the one in control of the oil
Mhm.
and gas
Yes.
in
Yes.
Biafra land. Greed
Yes.
beyond imagination. And at the end of the day, they accumulate all this currency wealth and they don't really know what to do with it. What they do is they send it out to Swiss bank and the banks in London here and other places. When they die, some of them are forfeited. A lot of the accounts they have, nobody knows about them, and these countries, convert them to their debt for themselves. Whereas your
That's
people
right.
are dying in poverty, in hunger,
That's
in
right.
penury,
That's right. That's
and
right.
even in
That's right.
starvation. I mean,
Yes.
there are so much lessons to learn, and I can give you many examples. Last but not the least, I always mention Burkina Faso, where it has shown that
Yes.
youth can transform a nation. Where it has
Absolutely.
shown that you
Absolutely.
don't need to be an octogenarian to be a president of a country. Where it has also shown that the more useful you are, the better
Yes.
productivity. Right now in
Yes.
Nigeria, I never like to talk about this because there will people who bring it down to ethnicity, and I'm not an ethnic bigot or jingoist.
Mm-hmm.
P2P has been contesting for the past few years now. The whole
Yes.
country, if you do public opinion or do any form of survey sampling, will tell you that of all the people positioning themselves, that Nigerians, not just Southeast or Igbo or Yoruba,
Mm-hmm.
but Nigerians as a whole believe he's the better candidate. He's the more useful, not just his age, but other indices that he presents that people can see. Still, Nigeria find it difficult. Peter B is not a young man as such. He's in his 60s, but at
Mm-hmm.
least relatively younger than the people who want to remain there. But Burkina
Yes.
Faso trusted a young man in his 30s. And
Yes.
look at where he has taken them to. In
Absolutely.
Cameroon, you see President Paul Biya that's in his 90s. People believe he's more than 100 because the 90 is official age. He's
Yes.
still contesting election to remain in power.
Ridiculous.
This is
Ridiculous.
madness. This
Yes.
is absolute madness.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Well said. And I've been drawn to a close. I've got to ask this question because it's a favorite question of mine. What should continental African intellectuals, regardless of their ethnic background, religious leaders or traditional leaders in play in finding peaceful and lasting resolutions to the Biafra question? So I don't want to make sure it's clear. I'm particularly interested in your response to the African intellectuals, the religious leaders, whether it be Christian or Muslim or others, but most critically, those traditional leaders. What role could they play in finding peaceful and lasting resolution to the Biafra question?
Very good question. The
Mhm.
first role I think they should play is engagement.
Okay, yes.
A lot of this very important group you mentioned now, intellectuals, traditional
Religious
institution,
leaders,
religious leadership,
yes, yes,
don't
yes.
engage
I
IPOB
know,
as much.
I know, I know, yeah.
4 years ago, when my humble self and my team came on board in here, IPOB leadership, I instituted a team. I prefer to use the word team to committee that whose role is it's called the National Community Engagement and Mobilization Team. And their role primarily is to permeate these different groups to sort of introduce us. Since, as I say, Muhammad, if Muhammad doesn't go to the mountain, mountain goes to Muhammad. So we
That's
took
right.
it upon ourselves to engage them. In 2023, we wrote the Archbishop of Canterbury, wrote
Mm,
all the religious leaders here in the UK, and even attended what we called um, church or mosque evangelism. India worshipped with them.
okay.
We organized 4 different regions of the UK. The same Sunday, we went to their different cathedrals and worshiped with them and did our own evangelism, dressed in our Biafra and had our things, spoke to the people, and it made a good impact on people. Yes, it's something that we need to sustain. So this group of people can engage IPOB, not by the narrative, the always negative narrative of the government
Mm,
side. After engaging with IPOB, hear from IPOB leadership, hear from IPOB itself. Take notes, engage the authorities that we are in battle with, and mediate. Mediate. What is wrong in coming in a roundtable conference?
Yes. Right.
I'm amazed
They've
personally that this has always been avoided. I have made a move myself to engage some traditional rulers because I'm a traditional title holder too. And very few are comfortable to even speak. They're afraid.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, they
Why?
meet me and say, oh, they are very,
Why are they
as you say,
afraid?
oh,
Why?
they give you some
Why?
personal praises. But the moment you say, I have come in the name of Biafra, they recoil into their shell. I don't want to accuse anybody, particularly my elderly, of anything, but you ask yourself why. And these people I'm talking about have direct contact with government. So the youth see them as sellout, as saboteurs, that they are collecting bribe, whatever from government, contract from government, and that has shut up their mouth. They know the truth is buried in their heart, but they're not able to speak it out. For heaven's sake, Tinubu as a president and the whole Nigerian government cannot resist the voices of certain personalities, traditional rulers, religious leaders, intellectuals, if they speak out and speak up. But the problem is that for some reason, we all know, they choose to not. IPOB leadership has more or less this year declared that that same template IPOB UK introduced, 2023, will be replicated worldwide. And leadership of IPOB is prepared to initiate this engagement I'm talking about, because we've waited for too long for our own people to have such engagement. The only engagement, let me say this here now, that's ever held in 2017 by Mazen Nandekano directly with a few of these leaders, delegates, including governors in the Southeast, in September 2017. There, Mazen Nandekano tabled IPOB's position, which is very clear. A lot of what we've been discussed here, peaceful demands, legitimate requests from government.
Yes.
And they said, okay, that's fine, we've heard you, we'll take it to the Abuja, to the federal government. 3 days after, it wasn't even quite exactly 3 days, instead of the negotiation, government sent military to Nnamdi Kanu's house to assassinate him.
Yes. That's right.
This is the fact. And in the process, killed more than 28 innocent people who were in that compound that day. What does this tell you? And I was very angry with some of my elders and leaders, and I spoke up in certain forums. It's not what I'll say on air here. How disappointed I am that they didn't even condemn the government action. One of them came to London here in Chatham House to justify the government's action.
Oh.
And lost, for me personally, and I told him, lost every respect I have for him. But I won't come out in the public to say my feelings about him for respect, which is our tradition.
We must keep trying, though. We agree we must keep trying to engage the intellectuals, the religious leaders, and of course our traditional leaders. We must keep trying. We agree.
Yeah, we are open to that. As I said, we are on a course this second half of the year to start again and do that. And we are doing it not just with the Nigeria or Biafran side, we are doing it internationally. Last year, we went to Italy, Germany, Spain. I was in part of the group on this mission, mostly Europe. This year, we are going to other places, but because of what we've learned from Nigeria, the way they kidnap Mazen and the Kano, we are not saying a lot of our movements on air. But we are definitely doing this, and we are reaching out. IPOB is taking the initiative. It's not an easy task, but we are prepared. We are resolute, and we will keep on pushing until victory is achieved.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I want to draw us to a close now, but I want to give you the opportunity, and particularly with young people in mind, who I say again are the rapidly growing demographics for this channel. Okay. What is your words to the people with young people in mind? What is your word to the people? Your closing words.
My word is keep the faith, seek the truth, know the truth, speak the truth, regardless of what. Even in the face of your enemy or adversary, stand for the truth. Youth remain the hope of any nation, and indeed our world. If our youth fall into the trap of the failed generation ahead of them,
Mhm.
we've lost it.
Yes.
If you apply these things and others that people wiser than my humble self will give you, do your own work. Don't be lazy. Don't take everything I say or anybody says to you. Do your own work,
That's right.
especially primary research. Because
Yes.
I always say to people, do not rely on the internet completely, but it's a huge resource, the internet, so we can do without it. Do the bit you need to do on the internet, do the other bits you need to do in the field, in person, and other means that we actually guide you to knowing, believing, understanding, and standing with the truth. Once you are in good state, please do not keep it to yourself. Pass it on to others.
That's right.
Use every available avenue at your disposal to preach the gospel of truth, to support the restoration of Biafra, and to demand good governance from those in charge, including those who are in charge of Biafra or IPOB,
That's right.
using the right channels. I'm not an advocate of people being unruly or violent, whether verbal abuse, psychological or it's not my thing. I don't propagate that. But there's always a channel that you can use to express your innate feelings and observations without resorting to violence and abuses. Explore those, apply them effectively, and continue. Don't give up, because you get knockbacks. You'll be discouraged. People will try to talk you out of your course, but remain resolute. Stay sure and firm your focus on the goal, which is my mantra here, leading IPOB UK as a sign off. So that's what we
Whoa.
say to them. And before I sign off, I meet him, because we are talking about our youth. I'm so heartbroken that we lost a very vibrant, youthful one leader, one of my zonal coordinators here in the United Kingdom, the zonal coordinator in charge of Mid Kent, Mazi Osita Isiu, who suddenly, sadly passed away Monday, the 1st of, actually 1st of June. This is a young man, like we are describing here, who took his time to do his work, to understand exactly what IPOB stands for and is fighting for, and joined, forces to make sure that IPOB message here in the UK is well spread and well received.
Yes.
His loss is so tragic. And my heart goes out to his very young family, is now widow and two young children. His parents who are still alive, and indeed the IPOB family worldwide who are in charge of the funeral plans we have for him.
Okay.
It's so painful, but may his soul and the souls of all the faithful who have gone ahead of us find eternal repose in God's paradise.
Okay. Right. Thank you. The wonders of youth. You see, that's why I focus on the youth. We need them. We need them.
Yeah,
We want to say thank
sure.
you. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for your dialogue. And please, we are always here with you. And we will ensure that your messages are amplified here through this channel and wherever we can encourage other similar channels to do the same. Live long and prosper. Thank you. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you so much. And talking about the youth, one of my own youth has come to join it at the end. Yeah. Thank you.
It's
And
wonderful. You are a father.
continue
You
the
are a
good, the good
father. You
work.
know, you are a father. Come on now. You are a father. We love it. In fact, let me do this for you now. Let me just give you
Yes.
a true acknowledgement. I want to make sure we fully acknowledge you. Here we go. Here we go. Yes.
Yeah.
We're clapping your daddy. We're clapping your daddy now.
Bye-bye.
We're clapping your daddy. Oh. Hello. Okay. There you are. It's the motivator here. I think you would agree that was truly an inspirational dialogue. I want to thank the good chief. He was truly amazing. He was able to provide that perspective that we simply do not hear enough in social media or general media from the people on the ground, those who feels it, knows it, absolutely. Give support to the people of Biafra. Give support to the people of Biafra. And if you want to contact them, let me put it on the screen. There we go. That's it. That's the URL. Let me just move it up for you. It's www.ipob.org. www.ipob.org. You can reach out to them, join with them, help them to realize their goals. Yeah, it is a worthy cause. I speak to the federal government of Nigeria. Learn the lesson from Britain. Learn the lesson of Spain and Catalonia. Yeah, bring peace to Nigeria, and through peace, prosperity for all Nigeria will benefit, for all Nigerians. Praise be, praise be, praise be. That was a fantastic, fantastic dialogue. I want to thank the good chief and the people of Biafra. I want to thank all the Igbo people, both home and abroad. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And stay here with the Motivator Show. I say to many of you, if you haven't previously subscribed, we urge you to do so. We really need you to think about it. If you've not subscribed, leave a message. And of course, wherever you can, just spread the word, and that will greatly help us to grow. We are growing at a very rapid pace. But if I just remind you all that honestly, if we are to make progress, we need your support. There you are. We need your support, and obviously, as many of you be aware, progress is very much in your hand. There you go. Yeah, very much in your hand. And together we can and we will transform the world. Okay. But before we go, there are just two quick items. Stay with us. Don't go yet. Stay with us because there's much we want to achieve here, much we can achieve. But we do need your support. If in doubt, ask questions. And as the good chief has noted, we want you to do your own research and to ask questions. Yeah? Keep asking those questions, both of the Motivators Show. You can contact the IPOB and ask questions there, and ask questions of the government, in this case, the federal government of Nigeria. Because it's only until the people demonstrate they have an interest in these matters that the politicians take any notice of you. I say again, unless you demonstrate an interest, the politicians believe that they can get away with anything. Okay? It's up to the people to demonstrate that they are concerned about the performances of these governments. But before you go, there's these two items I want to tackle very quickly, and I know you will understand why. We mentioned earlier on that the Motivator Show is going to visit Burkina Faso. Okay, official invitation. Yep, you recall the earlier episode of the Motivator Show. We had the High Council representative of Burkina here in Britain speak directly to the Motivator Show. Okay, so this is an official visit. We want to encourage as many of you to join with us. Yep, it will be safe. I'm going to add, it will be safe, but it will be truly inspiration. You get to know the people, and those of us of the diaspora who've been away from the motherland for too long, too many generations. We need to visit and see it for ourselves, experience it for ourselves. Yep. And not be controlled by other people's media in this regard. Yeah, not be controlled. Look, I'll put it on the screen for you. Here we go. Discover Burkina Faso, the place of the rising spirit. The calling has gone out. Go to website address letsdiscoverburkina.com. Letsdiscoverburkina.com. You are invited to visit on the 22nd of February to the 8th of March 2027. We are a holiday destination. Many investment opportunities. We are family friendly. A great place just to relax. Go to website address letsdiscoverburkina.com. Visit Burkina Faso. Visit Burkina Faso. Visit Burkina Faso. Yes. Join with us and visit Burkina Faso. It will be truly an inspirational experience. A truly inspirational experience. If those of you who view us via your TVs, here we go. That's the QR code, and that will take you directly to the website. And all the details about the trip will be there for you to enjoy. It will be truly, I say again, an inspirational experience. There you are. That's the QR code. Point your camera at the screen and it will take you directly to the website. Discover. Let me do one more time. Let me say this one more time. That you are the change makers. I say again, you are the change makers. I say again, you are the change makers. You are the change makers. I know, I keep saying it, but I want to emphasize, because obviously, unless you emphasize the facts, there's an assumption that others will change the world for you. No, you are the change maker. It's your individual actions accumulated that create change in the world. Visiting Burkina Faso with us will be truly an inspirational experience. The invitation of the government of Burkina Faso, the High Council of Burkina here in Britain have represented themselves here on the Motivator Show to encourage you to come along and be a part of this. Okay. In fact, what I would do, I understand this will help you all to make your decisions. The site I mentioned to you, this is a site. That's the site. There you are. The site is Discover Burkina Faso, the rising spirit. And there you are. And the details are as follows. Okay. Note the date from the 17th of March to the 1st of April. Note the date, the 17th of March to the 1st of April. It would be truly an inspirational experience. You go to Ouagadougou, of course, the capital city. That will be in itself an incredible experience. Remember, Burkina Faso has many opportunities for us all, particularly those of us of the diaspora. It will be truly an inspirational experience. And let me just put up the program, of course. It's 6 pillars of transformation, engage directly with the living social revolution, participate in community assemblies, political education sessions, and discussions led by local organizers, understand the ideology behind Burkina Faso's sovereignty movement from the ground up. It is going to be a truly inspired experience. Participate in cultural ceremonies conducted by community elders, marking your symbolic reconnection to your African identity, not performance for tourists, a real threshold crossing into belonging, traditional music, storytelling, ancestral rituals. We're an integral part of this visit. And I urge you, go to the website, and you'll see far more. There you are. This is an important event. It will be an important event. More details will follow, but go to the website. Let's discover Burkina.com. Let's discover Burkina.com. If in doubt, ask questions. And my last, before I go, many of you have stayed with us for a long time. We want to ensure that you understand that not only are we concerned about your intellectual and mental health, we're equally concerned about your physical health. Okay. Many of you sat there, but have you moved around whilst watching and listening to this dialogue? We want to encourage you to exercise, okay? Exercise is good. Exercise is good. And if in doubt, seek out professional advice. We want to ensure that your health and well-being remains an uppermost in your mind. We want to ensure that you maintain the best possible health. Think about your health. Think about your physical health. Think about your mental health. And of course, consider your spiritual health. Okay. Usually I put up a video and see our community members exercising. I want today. But I know you understand the key messages that are relevant here. Because this is the Motivator Show. Because this is where we translate our words into action. And where success is ours for the taking. And if in doubt, ask questions. And I hope you would agree the keynote dialogue that you've just experienced was a worthwhile experience. I hope you would agree that this content is content that you should share with your families, your friends, your wider network, and help us to grow our following. It is rapidly growing, but we need your help to continue that growth. And we want to thank each and every one of you who've been a part of our growth these past few years and help us to gain a much wider coverage. And we will continue to deliver to you those issues which are not generally in the news media, but those issues which are important to us as a communities and many communities that make up our identity. We want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Enjoy the next few hours, but spread our content far and wide. And we want to thank each and one of you again for your dedication to the cause. I suppose at this point, I should just remind you of the words of that great man, Nelson Mandela. His first words when he left prison, when he was released from prison. I want you to remember this because it's so important, very, very important. His words, of course, was power. So I say to you, until the next time, I remain the motivator.
Amansa! 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 Amansa!